We're going to have a small group today, I think.
Which is great for these open forums, because this is really just a space for you guys to ask questions or update us on what kind of resources that you need, or things that are going on in your school. I know we posted that this would be a space to kind of talk about wrapping up the academic school year, as most schools are about a month out from starting their summer sessions. So we're back from spring break. We're thinking about, how to keep families engaged in this last final stretch. So yeah, I see some new faces and some familiar ones. So Montessori Thrive, we are just an online space for Montessori leaders to connect and find support and resources. We know it can get lonely at the top, so we host these free weekly calls. Oftentimes we have a speaker, but sometimes we just have these open forums where people can catch up, connect, and ask questions. I'm not expecting today to run the full hour, but it's just a good space to just connect. So first off, yesterday we had our final parenting session. I don't know if any of you were participating in our Montessori Thrive parenting series. We do them 3 months out of the year, where we meet once a week online with your parents. We invite a Montessorian to share parenting information for them, and it's just a way that we help schools with parenting education. All of the recordings are up, so if you're a Montessori Thrive member, you can find the recording flyer and send that out to your community. If anyone has any questions about how to share that, just let me know. I just posted it. But yeah, I just want to start off by asking, what issues are going on at your school? What things do you have planned? What thoughts do you have? This is an open forum, so feel free to drop something in the chat or unmute yourself.
We, as far as wrapping up the end of the school year, we don't have much planned. We're in Washington, and things were buttoned up pretty tight for a long time. And I feel like we're just getting out of it. And our head of school has been teaching for the past 2 years because we couldn't find a teacher. So we're just now starting to do things like partner with the local sports teams and do tickets for the summer and, things like that. But really looking ahead to next year and getting back to quote unquote normal and really being engaged in person.
Are you in DC or Washington State?
Oh, sorry, Seattle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that final stretch and kind of time for some more fun activities after the past 2 years. And yeah, I hear you with the staffing issue. It's been hard. I mean, that's been a topic of conversation. I would say probably the first year we had our town halls, everything was about COVID. And then the second year we had our town halls, everything is about staffing. Yeah, so we've had a lot of, our session last week was on how to sponsor visas because people just can't find anyone in the US. So they're looking at the long process that is the work sponsorship. But yeah, I know Wally, he's on the call. He is also experiencing the same thing with staffing issues.
Camila,
Mm-hmm.
just a comment here, a couple of comments about last session about the getting staff from abroad. I didn't get a chance to mention that to the lawyer and others, that I can see that as a potential solution, complicated but a potential solution for a longer term need. But if I have somebody that I need, for example, now for fall, it's just impossible to really go through that process, whether even if the person happens to be in US, forget abroad, right? So that was the main thing. And I'm not sure that she has any recommendation for that. But anyway, so that's point number one. The second thing with regard to the coming year is, in our case, we do offer summer camp. It's not that we close the school and then we come back. So there is some sort of a continuity there. Not the full, I think about 50% of our students attend the summer camp. Now, the challenge that we have for this upcoming year is just like last year when we started in August 2021, we thought that it will be pretty much close to normal and everything will basically, go back the way we used to do things. But I think it has been a very difficult year for us. For this, worse than the year before, actually, surprisingly enough. Particularly the month of January and February. And we had to close about 6 classrooms, 6 to 7 classrooms within 2 months. So that was, so it has been now, given that experience, we were wondering what to expect in August of this year. So we are a little bit leery about it. We are planning on offering our usual enrichment classes at the end of the school, where children mix from different classes. We are hoping to basically get away from the pods that we have established, right, to discourage mingling between different classrooms. We're hoping to stop that, but who knows? I don't know exactly what will happen the way things are. So that's been a concern, obviously, but nobody has any answer to that.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody does have an answer or know what's coming. I just heard this morning that from the New York Times, just that 60% of adults in the US have had COVID, which really surprised me, and over 75% of children. So it seems that my sense of it is that it's going to be, who knows? Nobody knows, but that as it's evolving, it's becoming maybe it's a little less, everybody's just so over it, but it's also becoming a little less severe, I guess, is a way to put it, maybe, or because so much of the population now has some immunity in either having had it or having had the vaccine. So this really isn't a pep talk by any means, but I think that, it does seem like we're in better shape, in terms of, where we've been with the pandemic anyway, in the sense of there's, treatments and there's, the vaccines, obviously, but they cautioned also to say, like, we'll never get herd immunity with COVID because of the way it is, and it mutates and everything. So anyway, I hear you, and definitely sorry to hear that you had so many struggles in this winter, because I know that there was a big spike with everything too. The other thing I wanted to mention is we are working with a school, and Wally, you're a client of ours, we could explore this for you too. One of our other client schools is we're running some ads for teachers on Facebook to recruit teachers, and having a little bit of success with it. It isn't like an overwhelming, great thing, but you can kind of, if you're interested in exploring that, let me know and we can look into it as well. The important thing there is to have good job descriptions on your website, as well as not even job descriptions. You really want to promote your school to prospective staff as well, because if they've got the pick of wherever they want to work right now, right? It's so you really want to make your school stand out as some place that they really want to come work. So anyway, just a couple of thoughts there, and we're conscious of it, and I'm always trying to think of ways. We specialize obviously in finding and recruiting families for schools, but finding and recruiting teachers for schools isn't that different of a process necessarily. We can try to explore to use the same, methods for that.
I think running ads is great. And I'm sharing as well in the chat a Facebook group. It actually started, I want to say like a few weeks or months ago. It's relatively new because there's so many schools experiencing staff shortages. And it's a Facebook group specifically designed for Montessori teacher jobs. So if you have a job opening, or if you are looking to, if you're looking to hire, or someone is maybe looking for a job, they would join this group. So it's a great place to advertise a position, and it's free to post. So I recommend doing that, as it's a very focused group for that. I think there's like 3,000 members, so it grew quite quickly. I think there's a lot of buzz going on around the Montessori need for like staffing. But yeah, hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah. A lot of people posting jobs, but I wonder how many people are looking for jobs. So that's the tricky part, right?
It's like we had a town hall a couple weeks ago with Lise. Lise, I forgot her name. It was about staffing strategies, and she was saying that now all the training centers are basically full of people who already have jobs. So all the people in the training centers were really sent there by a school to get their training, rather than are just getting their training and then looking for work. So I think the recruiting process has probably changed a bit over the years.
Mhm.
I know someone who tried to do a job posting through AMI, and they were saying that it took a while for AMI to actually even approve it and post it on their platform, because I know you have to pay a fee to post through AMI. And so they actually had more success with this Facebook group. It's free, so you never know. It's good to just put things out there.
Right.
Some of the training centers also do job postings like on their own that are often free.
Yeah, it's good to just get out there. Also, I think I mentioned this at one of the town halls in the past. If you have a LinkedIn for your school, which would be good, just a business LinkedIn, it's free to have an account. You don't have to have a premium. You can post positions on there, and you can search for people with accreditations and send them a message saying, if you're interested, if you're looking for an opportunity. I mean, that's going into the recruiting process, which is a little bit more hands-on, but it can be free. And it doesn't cost money to just post on your page. It does cost money if you want to actually post a formal job listing, but it never hurts, and it gets out there. Just, use good hashtags, #Montessori, #Montessori guide, #Montessori jobs. Maybe people will come across it.
Yeah, that's a great point, because really LinkedIn is really all about that. It's about jobs, really, and careers, and I think it is probably overlooked in the Montessori space a bit. So I don't know how many Montessori, potential Montessori teachers looking for positions are on LinkedIn, but they might be. And, I think it's a great platform for that. It's really designed for that. So
I would say definitely the younger generations are on there more and more, because when I'm on LinkedIn every now and then, I usually what I find is a lot of consultants will be on LinkedIn, and younger guides or assistants. So it's usually like the gap in between that are a little bit like missing. And there's a lot of opportunity to find young talent. I guess it is going to have to be a longer recruiting process, which, as if Montessori school leaders didn't have enough on their plate already, but that's just the reality. Definitely run ads, post as many places as you can on your Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Get in touch with your local training centers, also universities. There's lots of people studying childhood education and things like that. It's great to introduce them to Montessori. Some of them may not be as familiar, and maybe you can inspire them to choose Montessori instead of maybe more traditional schooling. Looking at the kind of bigger picture. It's hard. It is hard.
I just want to say I'm lobbying my daughter really hard to get trained to be a Montessori teacher. So I'm trying to contribute one to the mix anyway.
Oh my gosh, she would have her pickings of jobs by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's well-trained, would, but yeah, anyway, I try.
I mean, let your daughter know that we'll sponsor
Okay.
her.
She's in New York City right now.
Oh,
But yeah, she would be great. She wants to be a teacher. So, I'm just kind of waiting for it to kind of come around for her to realize that she really wants to be a Montessori teacher. So anyway, yeah. I will let her know, Wally. I told her that many schools would probably be willing to sponsor her.
it's true.
Yeah.
Be full circle, Montessori child to Montessori teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
I mean, we have actually gotten 3 or 4 of our teachers just by sponsoring them. That's the way we have been able to. Even that, for example, I mean, let's say, that's not always easy because, you want to sponsor out of our staff, right? That probably makes the most sense. If you can, because you know them and all that, it's not an unknown entity, you know about the loyalty. But then you have to make sure that the staff members who are there are the right teacher material, right?
That's right.
And what we have started doing now is, we are basically an AMI school, but right now, in some cases, we are ending up sending our members to AMS training because it is locally here. It's possible for us to get them trained. And AMI is a lot more complicated to do that. I mean, in many cases, even Atlanta has an AMI training program, but it's summer, which means that now it's 3-year long. I mean, so that doesn't help us a whole lot. So down the road, we may end up hiring AMS teachers, even though we would prefer AMI's rigorous training, but that seems to be less and less of an option going forward.
I hear you, Wally. And that's been a consensus amongst a few different AMI schools. Is I'm hearing some are considering switching over to AMS just because I have been seeing a couple of comments in forums and things like that, that just AMI isn't always doing enough in certain areas. I mean, obviously the training centers are scattered, so it can be tricky if you live in certain states or areas. And yeah, so they are considering making that switch, but yeah, those schools that do have the AMI accreditation tend to want to remain AMI. So it is tricky. And yeah, I hear you.
Because if you have an option in closing a class or getting an AMS teacher and keeping the class open, I mean, the choice is fairly simple, business-wise.
Right.
Yeah.
One comment I have, Camila, for you regarding the parenting series that you mentioned earlier, that a couple of times in the past, we have actually circulated that information to our parents to attend that. And sadly, I mean, the response has not been very encouraging. So we send them reminders and all that stuff. But still, maybe just a maximum handful of parents may have attended. This time we did not do that. And I just was wondering if you guys have any further thought about how is it that we can get them excited about, I mean, I know there's good stuff there, right? But how do we get them to really even go and take the first step? I mean, that's been a challenge. If you guys have any other recommendations, I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, it's hard. I think even when schools host their own parenting courses, it's hard to get parent engagement. I mean, so far what we do is we offer the social media posting and we offer the virtual flyer. It's a free Zoom call, but yeah, it really is difficult to get parents engaged and especially there when they attend the live, which is a real shame because it's free for them. It's free for them to just get that advice from Montessorian, but it's tricky, that's it's like the $1 million question in Montessori is, how can I get parents more involved in parenting education? Yeah.
Wally, does your school do its own parent ed as well?
Say that again.
Do you do your own parent education events as well?
We do. We have maybe 2 or 3 events, what we call the parent night,
Mhm.
where we educate them about different subjects. We haven't been holding what they call the silent journey. That we had it a couple of times in the past, and on the weekend.
Yeah, that one's a
So-
commitment for parents usually.
Yeah, I mean, so that we haven't done that recently, but we do offer. I mean, we get a decent turnout for those parent nights. It's not bad. We can always improve it by maybe having some good short videos in addition to what the teachers have to say. But yes, we do have that, but it's not overwhelming. Maybe 2 or 3 in a given year max.
I wonder if maybe your parents just feel that if they're going to yours, that they might not feel the need to come to ours, maybe they feel like that's enough. And I don't know, I mean, ours, we're trying to target them more to be parenting, like with Montessori in mind, rather than, I mean, I know at my school, and thinking back, I mean, we used to do parent education evenings, and it was really about educating the parents about what goes on in the Montessori classroom. And really what we're trying to do for our parenting series is more like kind of nuts and bolts, just parenting, strategies and things, kind of in the, like I said, like kind of with Montessori in mind, but it's not about Montessori specifically. So I don't know what your own parent education evenings are like, but maybe, if you have any conversations with your parents, you can, and if you want to tell them about ours, we're not going to be, the next one won't be till October. So, but, we're really trying to make them be very applicable strategies that parents can use for, tantrums or, dealing with adolescent, overuse of media, or, these kind of things that are parenting, just kind of general parenting issues, rather than, what are the red rods used for in the classroom kind of parent ed. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that you knew that that's kind of the tack that we're trying to do with the parent ed evenings that we're offering.
Yeah, ours are similar to what you said that you had in your school. It's more classroom specific. Sometimes what we do is we have a theme where they have maybe they go into sensorial, or they go into math curriculum a little bit more in detail. But again, it is a little bit more specific to a classroom and to a given subject. So we'll have like 3. We can have maybe reading in one, we can have sensorial in another one, or we can have math in another one. That's the way we organize ours for us. Now, your parent, the parenting seminars you have, I understand that, but I think those who attended seem to like it. It's just, to get them to do it. And I'm not sure if so much is lack of awareness, but maybe they're just being pulled in so many directions in the evening and all that. So they just kind of let it go aside, right? And so that's not something critical that they feel that they need to attend. So
You
so
you, what time zone are you in, Wally? Are you
Eastern?
Okay, so they're at 8 p.m. for your parents, which
Yeah.
That was also a discussion of, we had like, when can we hold these? Because we have, all across the US, and without it being too late on the East Coast, and then, too early on the West Coast. So, and 8 p.m. is kind of a tough time, because that is usually the hour when parents are getting their kids to bed.
True.
But 9 to 10 seemed a little late. And,
that's right. Yeah.
and Camilla's in the UK, so she's already.
I stay up till 2 a.m. to host them, but I don't mind. Like, I think it's, it's great. The speakers that we've had on, it's like what Camille mentioned. Like, what I love about them is, they're Montessorians who chose to become parenting coaches for the most part. A lot of them have become consultants. So they have experience in the Montessori classroom. They know the materials in and out. A lot of them are AMS, AMI trained. But, they've chosen this path to work with parents specifically. So the way that they talk to the parents, I feel, is very digestible for parents who may not yet know all the terminology in Montessori or may be new to it. So it's great to invite your prospective parents as well. But yeah, what I would say to, getting them on board is know that probably not anywhere near all of your parents will participate, and I would post it as often as I could. Like, I would highly recommend posting the social media posts that we offer. I would send it out if you have any weekly emails or newsletters. We send out we create a virtual flyer where parents can download it and sign up for all of the sessions. And yeah, if they want to come, they will. If, a lot of them might forget about it. A lot of them may have a lot on their plate. A lot of them may just want to watch the recording on their own time. But yeah, parent engagement is tricky.
It is.
Yeah, around 8 o'clock for us, around 8 o'clock, they are kind of just getting done with the children. They're tired, and all they want to do is just sit on the recliner, turn the TV on, and watch British drama.
Exactly. We encourage parents to come in their pajamas. Or, if you want to come in your pajamas, if you want to turn your camera off, you can use the chat to ask questions. But yeah, it is tricky. Yeah.
You brought up a good point too, Camilla, and that is, Wally, you can promote these to your prospective parents too. I mean, we just ask for, let us know what school you're kind of associated with. So if they hear about this from you, then if they put Crabapple Montessori, that's fine with us, So I think it's a great thing to offer prospective parents, like somebody who's in your pipeline or who's inquired to your school or whatever, just let them know, hey, feel free to join this free parenting series. There's no catch really at all. And I know we're really, we will follow up with schools that are inquiring to us, but we do not share or follow up or anything with any of the parents for these parent meetings. These are strictly provided as a benefit to our schools. We're not, we will share with the schools what parents registered and attended from your school, so that you can reach out to them if you'd like, but we do not. So anyway, I think it's a great option to, easy enough to just let your prospective parents know too. So you never know. But I agree with you. I mean, I know I'm tired in the evening, and
I'm tired at 1 a.m.
I don't even have, kids at home anymore. And you're tired at 1 a.m. Yeah, me too.
But yeah, it is tricky. But yeah, just share it enough in advance, but also share it more than once. The flyer, I would say, if you have someone in charge of emails or newsletters, because parents don't, as we know, they don't open all of the emails. They don't look at all the reminders. If you have an app for your school that sends reminders, like free parenting series, like Camille mentioned, the only email that parents will get from it is the link to join the call. They're not going to get any more emails. We're not going to bombard them. So it's really no catch for them. And they're hearing from some great parenting coaches, and a lot of them, parents ask great questions. They're getting some great advice that, they would have probably had to do a lot of Google searches that may not have been from an AMI or AMS trained Montessorian. So it's great in that way.
Yeah.
Have you guys gotten any feedback from your other schools to see what kind of response they have received with this series?
Yeah, we did feedback. I want to say it was maybe our second session, and mostly it was just for some it was the time, and we understand that it's different with different time zones. That was an issue. And then really what we realized is a big chunk of the schools that participate in these are serving students from toddler to elementary. We have a few schools in our community who do adolescents. So we try to, include sessions for different age groups, but really the majority of our parenting sessions have really been more for that, I would say, first plane of development, maybe a little bit into the second plane. But yeah, they don't, we've only done, I think, 1 or 2 on adolescents. So most of the feedback was just about age groups and what kind of sessions would be good. There was a lot of requests for how to deal with tantrums, how to deal with defiance in the house, just what do parents want answered. But yeah, and then of course there's always the participation, the participation challenge. It's tricky. But yeah, we definitely encourage schools to just overshare it if possible, like share the virtual flyer that has all the links to register, share the social posts, share it via email, give it to prospective parents. Yeah, as much as possible.
And even, I mean, we typically get over 100 people register for these, but maybe half actually show up. And I think that's pretty typical. But just, I think people have good intentions, but then, as you say, when that, after, 8 o'clock hour rolls around or whatever, it's just,
Like, am I going to watch, Downton Abbey, or am I going to join a parenting call when I'm already maybe a little fed up with my kids?
And I can watch the recording later, so if they've registered, then they'll get a link to the recording. So I think anyway, but it is a classic problem. And, we don't have any magic solutions other than remind them and remind them and remind them, and do it, email and like social posts and things like that. Because I mean, it's classic, yeah, I worked in a school long enough to know, like, you'll send a newsletter out, you'll, try to put signs out, you do everything, and then you'll get the parent, I didn't know this was happening, so it's like, what do? You do is the best you can, is what you do. So anyway.
Does anyone have any other comments, questions? I don't want to keep you guys here for the full hour. If you guys have other things to do. I do want to mention that next week we will have a speaker at our town hall, so it'll most likely be the full hour. We have Kathy Minardi, who's a great Montessori consultant. She's going to be talking about school leadership. She was the school leader for several years and now works with many heads of schools. And she's actually doing a summer course for school administration. So she's going to be giving us kind of some information on that, but just her experience as a Montessori leader and how to develop as a leader. She's really great. We've actually had her on before, so we're happy to have her back. So it'll be a good topic. So if you want to hear a little bit more about Montessori leadership support, please join. We love Kathy. We actually met her a couple of weeks ago in Nashville. She's lovely. So we're excited to have her on. And then, yes, all of the recordings for the parenting session are up, Wally. So you'll be able to send the flyer out to parents. So if they didn't come to the lives, and then you should get an email from me today. I'm contacting all the schools that participated with a list of the parents that registered for the parenting calls as well.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything else that on their mind, or ideas or future town halls topics they might like to have covered? Because we're here for you.
We're doing town halls until June 30th, and then we'll be off July and August because last summer not enough people came, and it was I think that's just also a time that people need to disconnect and recharge. And we'll be back in September with our town halls after that to kind of kick off the new academic year and continue on with the online support. But just to give you a heads up, we have a few good town hall topics planned, but if there's anything you want to hear about or discuss, please let us know, and I'll see if I can contact a leader or a consultant or an expert in that area. We can usually find some great people who've come and shared great advice. All right, I guess we'll wrap up. We'll wrap up early today, and I hope to see you guys next week with us and with Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you guys do.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. Bye-bye.